Hello, this is Mike, NoStressMike.com. Right now, I want to talk about the most important thing you need to consider when you're carrying a firearm. I'm 66 years old. I started carrying firearms or assortment other types of weapons when I came back from Vietnam at 19 years old. So I've been carrying for a long time, and I've, in the way of concealed carry, I've only had to shoot someone once. So I've carried it a long time, considering how much use that I've got out of it. That's the thing that you need to consider when you are carrying a firearm. Now, it's not, like I say, people will argue and talk about, well, this gun is better to carry because of this and that. The calibers, the size, a pocket gun, or one in a holster. You carry it on your belt, you carry a shoulder holster. I mean, there's all kinds of things you can talk about. But the one thing you have to consider is the maintenance that needs to be performed on these weapons, even though you don't use them. All you're doing is carrying them. Now, I carried many years in 1911, and it was big. I remember I was young too, and it was big. It was heavy. It was difficult to carry. That was my primary one that I would carry. There was others. I've experimented with all different types of firearms, but one thing they all had in common, because I carry them close to my body, and the one thing I had problems on all of them was they would rust. The sweat from my body would make them rust. Even though I had them on the outside of it wasn't touching my skin, still the heat that comes from my body would affect it and get rusty. So that was one of the things I had to contend with for many years. And at that time, I had to take them out and clean it up. I would do that at least once a month. And it got to the point where as you get older, you take it for granted and you don't maintain them. And so I was really lucky when I got into, I started going with the plastic guns. And I remember when they first came out, the plastic handguns, I thought, man, that's nasty. Who wants a plastic handgun? So it took me a while before I was finally sold on it. And I'm not promoting it because, as I say, I made a video on the perfect handgun for self-defense. There's things that you look for, but that's not what this is about. This is things you need to consider. And right now I've been carrying a Glock, and it's a Glock 9mm. If you get them too small, like you start carrying 22s and stuff like that, with the tight tolerances, there's more of a chance on malfunctions. And like I say, look, I carried it for all these years and only used it once, and in that one time I needed it, I didn't need a malfunction. So these are things you need to think of. So the smaller the caliber, the tighter the tolerance, the more chance you're going to have a misfire. Now, I say you can get the bigger ones. They're more reliable, but like I say, they get big and heavy. And that's why I picked the medium, and that's 9mm. But that still has its problems. And one of the, like I say, now when I'm carrying the plastic firearm, the rust isn't a factor in it. But I still have the factor of lint. And lint does collect in firearms a lot. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you another thing that I never had a problem with. And I'm going to go in detail and try to explain to you exactly what happened, and it could have been a misfire, but I was just lucky that I was doing a demonstration, and I took it out, and when I was unloading it, that's when I found everything for a misfire. And so I'm going to go into detail and explain to you exactly what I did and exactly what I found. And that's going to be another thing you need to consider. Now, I say I demonstrate a lot, so I unload my firearm a lot. I really hate doing it. A lot of times when I unload, in the back of my mind, I can't remember if I put another round in the chamber. So, and seeing you do it all the time, or I'm doing it all the time, that's why I get a little nervous if I try to tell myself, did I reload it or not? So, but anyway, this is what we're going to talk about. I'm going to show you in detail exactly what the circumstances was and how it happened. Okay, to unload your firearm, the first thing you do is you drop the magazine. Now I'm going to go into a lot of detail because I still haven't figured out exactly what happened. But when I unload it, I'll turn it to the side, and then I'll undo the magazine, and then I pull the magazine out. Just the way I do it. And when I did that, I pulled it out, and then I noticed inside this was inside. The next round to go into the chamber was going to be this. The bullet and the brass was already separated. It was laying inside there, inside against the slide when I pulled the magazine out. I saw it inside there. There was no powder. No powder. I couldn't find any of the powder, so I don't know where the powder went on this bullet. Now, what happened, I'm thinking, is I load and unload all the time. And every time I reload, it shoves it back into the chamber. And then I use the same, the same 2 or 3 shots. My first 2 or 3 are hollow points. My first 2 or 3 rounds. And what happens is they'll hit that hollow point will hit the ramp each time. And I've done this for years and years. And I say it was 07 was the last time I shot anybody. So then I've been taking this same bullet out and reloading it all these years. I've been about, what, 7, 8 years now. Now, so you take the magazine out, and then after you take the magazine out, then what I do is I hold my hand like that, and then I'll slide it. And that's how I catch the bullet that's in the chamber. Now this is the gun I was carrying. It's a Glock 26. And I've already disassembled it. But there. You can see the lint buildup. Right in there. I think you can see it. There it is. And so there's a lot of lint that's built up in this thing. then right in there you can see, I don't know if you can see it or not, but there's still the same thing. There's lint buildup. And the good thing about Glocks is, or the plastic guns, you don't use much oil. I say like a toothpick, and you just dip the toothpick in oil and you put it on these 4 rails. Right there, right there. And then these 2 right back here. And so you have that. And then I say you really don't oil the rest of it on the Glocks. They don't know, not necessary to have the oil. But the problem is like I say, the bullet already separated, and it was inside the gun. In other words, my first shot would have went out, and then this would have been the next round going in. Now, I doubt if it would have went in, but even if it did, it was separated. So then what would have happened, the primer would have put the projectile into the chamber, but not throughout the barrel. And that would have meant the next bullet coming in, it would have given me problems. So this is something that a situation that happened that I would have never planned on. I've never thought of something like that. So this is something you do need to check when you're loading and unloading your weapon frequently. Make sure that the projectiles are still tight and all working together well. Or even better yet, change them out every year or 2, so you will have good fresh ammo in there all the time. See here, you can even see the lint. I think you can. Let's see if we can get it on the trigger, behind the trigger. There it is. That's the lint behind the trigger. I just wanted to bring this to your attention. It's another problem that I had that, as I say, weirdest things happen to me all the time. And this is one of those weird things that happen, and I share my experiences. This is Mike, NoStressMike.com.